I remember Olof Palme being shot. I remember that it was something that shocked Scandinavia. I remember my mother crying, and I thought that she knew him personally because of her response to the news. And I also remember that kind of like hope died, or like the idea that you could have a good, strong prime minister who would actually do politics that worked for the people, that had the people in mind. So a lot of innocence died with Olof Palme. The hard part of writing this book is that I'm really not the narrator. I'm more like the father. The father is more like me, like a more mentally ill version of me, a more extreme version of me, and I think their relationship reflects that. It's about a father who really loves his son and has a very strong relationship with his son, but at the same time is not able to lie. Well, he's able to lie, but he's not able to live on a lie. He's not able to conform, and he feels the need he feels the need to school his son in living and in truth and in not conforming and in living outside of society. I think that all families basically are to some extent dysfunctional. But I think that this being a father and son that really to some extent only have each other, they have an extremely strong relationship. And that is part of the book as well. It's a book about love as well. It's a book about living outside of society, but it's also very much a book about love. The son in the story, the son comes into his own. The son becomes a man in the end. And he is quite young, and he is finally at a pretty early age able to be his own man. And I think that he's about 20 when that happens. And that's a lot of hope in that. For a lot of people, it takes much longer for them to form themselves as complete human beings and not something that's just like an echo of their family. I do write a lot about mental illness. I think we all suffer from something, you know. And I think that if you write about a character that has a mental illness, you write about mental illness, but you also write about like a bigger version of things we all go through, like an amplification of things you. My first novel was about a schizophrenic guy, and that was for me like the perfect way to write about being an outsider and being alienated from society. If I'd written about myself, it would have been quite boring, but taking it a few steps further and giving him an actual mental illness other than just being a guy who drinks too much and is basically semi-depressed and quite lazy, like myself. I kind of think I reached something by amplifying his characteristics. In a fairy tale, it was important for me, or it was necessary for the father to have some sort of condition, because that was like the reason why he behaved at times in an extreme way, or maybe most of that was the reason why he had the guts to live his ideals. I don't think that if he hadn't had some sort of mental illness, he would have lived so truthfully as he did, or to his own standards and ideals. I hate writing sad endings. This might be my least sad ending to date, but I don't like writing sad endings. But and I think there's a lot of hope in there as well. That's another thing. But I don't like writing sad endings. But if you're writing something, at some point, the story will have to end where it has to end. It can't end in any other way than in the way it ends. And I think that's like a guiding principle when I write. So I would always love my characters to end up in a much happier place than they usually do. My next novel I'm working on is going to be noir, definitely. It's going to be me going back to the books I really loved when I was a kid. The first book I ever read was Red Harvest by Dashiell Hammett, and I still love that book. So it's me taking the opportunity and the time to kind of go back and trying to see if I can do something differently than it is done right now in the genre, if that is a genre, in the noir field. So that's what I'm working on.